We are live. Welcome to Levels Without Limits. I am your host, Amanda Marino. We meet here Tuesdays at 12:30 Eastern Standard Time, and I bring on the best guests, I have to say. I forgot about Instagram. Let me go do that real quick. I bring on the best guests, and I feel like I'm so blessed with the people that have come into my life in the past couple of years. I know we've discussed this a few times that since I made a shift and kind of set some boundaries, I have had nothing but really amazing people come in. And Maryann, you are literally, I was so excited today because you become one of my favorite people. I love
Oh,
your connection. I love your daughter.
likewise.
I love our collaboration that we've been already able to do. And I think that you're the real deal. And I love that.
Thanks, Amanda. I
Yeah.
appreciate it. And likewise.
Could you introduce yourself? I mean, I know you're streaming on your platforms and we're on mine. But if you want to say hello to Maryann and I, we'd love to have you in the chat. If you have any questions, we have a lot of exciting things we're going to be talking about today. But introduce yourself first so people can know who you are because you are magic.
Well, thank you. Yeah, so I'm Maryann Walsh. I've been a registered dietitian for close to 15 years now. And I originally grew up in Rhode Island, but moved to Florida 11 years ago now. And I've done a mix of like private practice over the years, as well as consulting for some top brands in the wellness nutrition space. In like marketing and regulatory and product development and all that kind of fun stuff.
Yes, you've gone all
And
as a dietitian. Like some people don't do all that. You can do it all. You can work with clients directly. You can work with corporate space. You can do it products. You got it all going on, girl.
yes. And I think too, I'm one of those people, like, you know how like our parents or the generation before, like they kind of stayed in one job their whole life. And
Yes.
like, I couldn't imagine doing that because there's so many things that I love to do and try and whatnot. And so, yeah, that's kind of where my career has gone. I'm a mom to a 3.5-year-old. I'm a single mom by choice, which means I chose to have her on my own.
That's one of my favorite things about you. I've always heard of it. I've always heard of people doing it, but the fact that like you are stunning, brilliant, and are like a total package, and you decided like F this, I'm gonna have a child by myself. I've had some bad experiences and I'm gonna do this thing by myself. I think that is so admirable and I just love it. And your daughter is precious.
Thank you. I think so too. Thank you.
She's so
And
she called me Panda. I like that name. She can call me Panda.
Panda. I know.
Panda.
She wants to go to Panda's pool.
I used to be called Amanda Panda. So
What? What'd you say?
I used to be called Amanda Panda. That was like people called me that all the time.
I know. I love it. It's so cute. And so me and you connected, especially over the fact that we both are kind of in this mental health space.
Yes.
I just started my dissertation in psychology. So I'm going to, my PhD should be done in January of next year. Again, I'm one of those people I love, like I'm always like wanting to learn and do. And I think that's what kind of helps my situation too. Because I'm okay being alone because I've got so many things that I want to do. So it's like,
I love that.
It works.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah, that's one thing that we vibe on. We both have like all kinds of ideas. And I think that like, when you have a lot of ideas, we talked about this, like asking ourselves those few questions, like one, is there a need for this idea? Two, is it something that like I'm passionate about? And three, will I make money? Will I bring in revenue? So those are the things I ask myself before, because I've like half dove into many projects. And I've learned that like, and also trying to learn my bandwidth, that's still a work in progress.
Yes. Yep. Shiny ball syndrome. It's like, oh my gosh, this sounds great. And then you're like, oh, well, this sounds great too.
Yeah, exactly. So let's talk about your topic and why you chose this topic, because we have some things in the works, and like if you stay on, we have some surprises for you and some little nuggets. But again, we want you to say hello. We want you to ask any questions. Maryann is a 2-time TEDx speaker. I am a 1-time TEDx speaker. We both have done a lot of, paid professional speaking gigs and have done like a lot of creative things. and continue to grow and blossom, and are interested in that, and are interested in helping other people to navigate that too, because we know what we've gone through. So tell me why we chose this topic.
Okay. So I've seen over the years so many talented people who are amazing at what they do, but they just don't know how to put themselves out there, or they think that the secret to why people in their profession or in their world, they think they got discovered or something. They think that like, oh, like that person, like that expert or whatever, they're in the media or they did TEDx or whatever because they just got discovered. But that's not always how it works. Like 99.9% of the time. I used to think that too.
I didn't. I don't know. I just thought it was a lot of work and it was something I knew nothing about. And that's why I spent so much time. Like I'm used to like wanting something and going and getting it and making it happen. But this is a space that doesn't happen. You have to work. You have to consistently work for it. And you have to be guided by the right people.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think too, like you grew up in like the spotlight, so to speak. Like, you know, you were doing the modeling and the dancing, music video, like all that stuff. And like, so like it probably didn't seem as it probably didn't seem as much of an abstract concept to you to like be out there, because you probably it was what's the proper, I can't think of the word.
It's always been a calling. Like I can tell you at 4 years old, my mother has a story where we were at like this festival they used to have in Fort Lauderdale, and the Mai Kai dancers, the Polynesian dancers, were doing this huge performance. I walked up there 4 years old and like took over the show. So like I've been like this since I've been little. I love to be on camera. Being on my phone, that took some time because that was like not like a set. Like
yeah.
And like, and so I'm like, I'm talking to my phone. This is weird. And we all think that. Like, I want to do a thing where it was actually Sarah's idea, a slew of like my videos in the beginning and show people how awful they were. Like they weren't all as curated and great as they are now. They were horrific. And I want people to see like, you know, we all start somewhere. But yeah, I love to be on camera. I love to be on stage. It's just something that, and it's not ever about me. Like it used to be when I was little and younger, but it's more about now being able to, like, I wake up every day and I want to help people. I want to help people with all kinds of things, right? I have a broad array, but I wake up every morning wanting to help people. And I can do that in a big way on social media and on stages. And that's what makes my heart come alive.
Yeah. Especially like knowing like when you've gone, we've all been through crap. So it's like, once you go through stuff and you see other people going through stuff and you know that you can help them in some way, it's like, it's really such a, you know, incredible feeling. And so I think, again, like what I saw over the years, especially the past like 10 years that have been quoted in like so many major publications, and then again, like the TEDx's and did news segments and stuff. And I didn't grow up. I grew up in Rhode Island. Like it's the smallest state. It's very small. Like just nothing goes on really crazy in the media world or whatever.
You've worked hard to make this shit happen for you. It's not.
But I did. Oh yeah, I did. But I also learned, it kind of took like a few different times of realizing like, okay, like it's about putting yourself out there. It's not like no one's going to just find and discover you sitting at home or not showing up on social media or like not putting yourself out there. And I think like we've talked about this a lot. Like, so I'm a registered dietitian by trade, but we both know a lot of therapists. Tons. Because of like the work that we do in the recovery space and mental health space. And I know so many therapists that have the talent to like beyond, you know, some of these people that have, you know, you hear about more often, but they don't put themselves out there.
Right, because they love to do what they do, which is meet with clients, right? So honestly, almost many of my lives have been with therapists, and I've been their first ever video. Diana, if you happen to be watching, Ashley, I'm trying to think of some of the therapists. Like I literally went to their offices or had them come on my live, and like and they felt safe with me. Another Allie from that works at Care and Treatment Centers, I went there and made her first video with her. Like I will go do that with people because I think that they're licensed clinicians almost go through the length of like medical school to get their license, right? So they are some of the smartest, most compassionate, and can help the most people in the world. And a lot of them are not visible. So I've made it my personal like mission to get a lot of them out there. There was a psychiatrist, Dr. Mangrola, that he's up in your area, that I interviewed. He had never ever been interviewed, and he's an OG. He's been a psychiatrist for over 40 years, and and he reached out to me and thanked me so much after. He had his family come on. So these magical people that are all over the world, all over the country, are not being seen because they don't know. It used to be kind of, honestly, it was looked at tacky to put yourself out there. Like I used to have people tell me, "Oh, you're so narcissistic making videos about yourself," because I was before the other people doing it, before it was like normal. But now, we're in a different era. So talk about that.
We are, and it's gotten to the point now where, like, I think sometimes people think, oh, well, if I put myself out on social media and I talk about what I do, then people will think I'm full of myself or whatever. But you wouldn't think twice if your family member, if say you have a sister or an aunt who opens up a hair salon, and they talk about the hair salon on Facebook or Instagram. Like, you would not think twice about that. Mm-hmm. And we live in a world now where a lot of times, like, your brand, like your personal brand is your business. Like, I've been in consulting as a dietitian for almost 10 years.
Right.
My personal brand is my business. So when I put myself out there and I show up on social media, even sometimes when I don't feel like it or whatever, it's like, that's keeping my business out there because, again, I'm a single mom. I have a family to provide for. Like,
yeah, if you have a lot of aspirations and dreams and goals, and like you and I have both taken time to invest in ourselves, right? And we've invested ourselves and we've learned a lot of things that are amazing. And then we've also learned some things that we feel like could be done differently, and want to be able to offer that to people.
Yes. I think growing up without a lot of money, I hate seeing people get taken advantage of. And I hate seeing people like basically like bet the farm or whatever the saying is on some people who are just really good at like over promising and under delivering. And to me, like, that drives me nuts because I don't know. It's just, again, really talented people are getting kind of taken advantage of. Because they're trusting that this person who presents themselves well is going to deliver and is going to show up and do what they actually say. But it's sort of like the new get rich quick scheme.
It doesn't happen like that, right? Like, and be careful of like the pink shiny object, right? Do your homework, I dropped a lot of money on myself last year, and it was always fine for me to put it in my business into next level, but to put it into the Amanda Marino brand was like really, really awkward for me. And people probably don't know that and probably don't think that. Like, my TED talk was like talking about struggling with self-esteem, and I have my whole life, and who the F am I? I'm not a clinician. Who the F am I to talk about mental health and to talk about addiction and to talk about, depression and all these things. And I don't talk about it from a lens of a clinician. I partner with all the clinicians. Like, I work with the best psychiatrists, therapists like that there are.
Yeah.
And I never pretend to be someone I'm not. So I have to constantly remind myself that what I do is a value. What I do is needed. What I do is not in competition of any kind of clinical professional. Like, I am a partner. And I fill a gap. And so, I just think that be careful of the big shiny thing, the thing that seems like everyone wants into. Like, do your research before you invest a large chunk of money into something that like could be your life savings. And you think that this is going to be it. Because I, have done it, and it's, I don't regret anything I've done. But if I could go back in time and if I had a little bit more insight, I may do it a little differently, I don't know how you feel about that.
Oh, I 100% agree. And I think too, it's very easy again, like I sort of not anymore, like not at 40 years old, but like in my younger years, like I was sort of just like passive and just wanted to believe that everybody had the best intentions. Like I didn't want to believe that people would literally lie to sell you something.
I'm the same as you. I believed Sarah's like, thank God she's like my protector. She like is like, no, that person's full of shit. Because I'll think everyone's like you and me, like good people, like that really actually want to try to help and are pure and authentic.
Yeah. And so you have to be careful and you have to ask, like, okay, like what tactical things are you going to teach? Or are you
Yeah.
going to talk about? Or are you going to provide? Like, what tactical things are you going to do? Instead of just like, oh my gosh, like, you're going to make $1 million by work. Like, it's just, there's so much crap out there. And so you really have to, like, not be afraid to ask questions and really
Yes.
get to, like, the meat of it.
And get clarity. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, something that you and I that's really important to some of the work that we're doing together is we want to over
Mhm.
deliver and under and not like not make promises that we can't over deliver and overfill. And there's so much of that in the coaching, the speaking space where you get sold a dream, and then you're in it and you get sold more and more and more and more things, and you're like, this doesn't feel right. So I mean, it's like just authenticity, like the authenticity and the visibility. Like we want to help. Maryann and I want to help you become seen. You're watching this and you're say you have an idea or you're building your business, but you're like scared, to get out there and you're scared to take the first step. Like sometimes all we need is someone to do the thing with us. Like I'm somebody, like if say I'll just use like a silly example, like my closet. When my closet gets unruly, I just need someone to come with me and help me get it started. Because I have a gigantic closet, and like sometimes throughout the week, like work stuff gets thrown in, clothes, and it's kind of like if it gets to a point where it's unmanageable for me, I have like one of the kids come help me, or I have one of my friends, because sometimes like we need a person to help us get going in the right direction and point us in the right direction and really and lead authentically, right? Which is super, super important to you and I. Like what you see here is who we are. When we hung out at the beach, this is who we are. When we hung out, behind us backstage at the Boca event with Cindy, like we were cracking up laughing. That's when you told me that I was funny and that I should like lean into my humor, and you made me want to get a go to a comedy class, like an improv class. So you brought that out in me, and that's what we should be doing with each other, is finding things in one another that like maybe people aren't seeing.
Yeah. And I think as you get older, like I'll see this in like young, like dietitians, for example, like just like I'll see like talent in somebody and I'll be like, oh my gosh, I'm like, you like are so good at this and the way you explain things. And like you have whether they have like a personal experience that can connect to the audience that they want to like attract or the clientele they want to attract. And I think sometimes you need other people to kind of see that in you.
Yeah.
Versus because we lose perspective when we're just dealing with our own selves for 24/7.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, especially, like we were talking about clinicians. So clinicians, medical professionals, so therapists, licensed clinical social workers, psychologists, psychiatrists, attorneys, like these are lonely professions. Like, they're often, sometimes they have like a group and whatever, but really they're alone a lot of the time. And this is a way to connect and like, we want to help build a tribe for people, or I guess that's the wrong word to use today, but a gathering of souls that want to lift one another up, right? That's what it's about. I am a woman lover and a woman lifter. I didn't always experience that. I was bullied, I was picked on, I was, I always say I was called a slut before I even kissed a boy, just because I was friendly and pretty. So people think that because if you're pretty that you have an advantage. Some ways you have an advantage, in some ways you have a very big disadvantage, because people assume you're a bitch and assume this and this. And I'm sure you've gone through some of that, Maryann.
Yeah.
But it's like people just assume, and so don't think that we haven't been through our things. You know what I mean? Like we both have been through a lot, and we both have a mission, to pay it forward and get the good people that are hidden out there. So if that speaks to you, we want to hear from you. I mean, this is streaming live, but this will also be playing after. And so we ask, send us an email. I mean, send us a DM with your email address, because we have some fun things, exciting, things coming up. So, but we don't want to give it all away, but we want to give you a little taste that you can work with two authentic women to help you grow and help you get out there and help you crush your dreams. And you deserve it. I mean, like we all deserve it. Like anything, when people say like that grew up with me, or people that knew me when I was in a different space and have seen me grow, I think they think it happened, like you said, I got lucky, or it like magically happened. Like we put work into this thing, girl. Like, what kind of work have you put into being where you are today?
It's sort of like it becomes like, I don't want to call it an obsession, but it becomes like, instead of like, some people have hobbies and they, there's nothing wrong with having hobbies, like at all, believe me, but it's like it becomes a hobby because you just get so like in love with the process. And it's like, again, it becomes the same way that like if you're trying to learn how to play cards or chess or whatever, and you get obsessed with the strategy and like ooh, or like that's kind of how it becomes. And so, and there's parts of it sometimes are frustrating, and you waste money or time, or you're exhausted. But no, I mean, it's been a lot of hard work. It's been trial and error, mistakes.
Yeah. Sacrifice. And so one thing about failure isn't failure. If you go and you try it, that is not failure. You tried. That's like how I don't have percentages, but I can tell you there's a mass percentage of people that have dreams and have things and try and don't try. So that to me would not be, I'm not shaming anyone, but that to me would be more like failure than actually trying and not having it work. When I went off on my own in 2019, I had all kinds of people doubting me and all kinds of like, naysayers and like all that stuff. And I just knew in my heart and my gut, like it didn't matter what anyone said, that I was going to do this thing. And I did all the jobs that people do for my company. So I've done them all. I've done the live-ins. I've done like all of it. So I know. And I'm still willing to step in, when needed. Live-ins are a little harder these days, but like I still will do a lot of the things. And I have a different insight. Like I worked for people prior to opening my own that own similar businesses. And like, kind of like we're talking about what we want to offer people as far as authentic, coaching and things like that. I learned like what was awesome and takeaways of what, I wanted to do and add into the business I was developing. But I also learned things that I was like, wow, I would not do that. I would do this. I would include this, like always having the clinical lens. Like I remember being left in a hotel room with an actively psychotic client with nobody to call, no clinical support, and awaiting guardianship. She's like punching holes in the wall. And like, it was a very dangerous situation. So like, I will never put my team in a dangerous situation. My team has to be treated good by the clients, because clients are very important, but my team is extremely important, So I've developed my company and how I move forward is I learn from the things that that either mentors, teachers, people I've paid to help me. What are takeaways that I will use and things that I will not use, and I learn from that I think are not right.
Yeah. And that's one of the great things is that, again, like you have the experiences, you see what works, you see what doesn't. And the more that you try, the more you put yourself out there, the more you realize that, hey, I'm going to try this and I could fail miserably, but I'm going to learn from it. I think that's so important. And I think too, like I was talking to you about this, about like the concept of like your purpose or your ikigai. And like, if you have sort of whatever you want to call it, there's so many different theories around it. And I'm actually doing my dissertation on a topic similar to this, basically about like your purpose in life. Like if you don't necessarily know it, I highly recommend like exploring it. And you can start off with, again, like the Japanese concept of ikigai, where basically it's what are you just naturally good at? what do you love to do? What does the world need? Like,
Yes.
is there a need for what you do? And then can you get paid for it? Because
Yes.
most of us do need to make a living. So and of course there are certain times when like you might have such a passion for whatever and you maybe volunteer, but the fact that you are able to make a living doing what you love, that oftentimes is what allows you to be able to give an hour or two of your time a month, to volunteer for things that maybe don't immediately pay you. And so I think
Totally.
it's important
I
to
did
explore
this work
that.
on the side before I left my job and made sure it was something I was into. I did it for a couple of years on weekends and nights and stuff like that. I wanted to make sure it was, I didn't want to like also do your research and like, I say, dream, manifest, plan, prepare, and go for it. Don't just go for it without like, if you have a fan, like obviously it was a luxury. I was married and I was making enough on the side with, the coaching stuff I was doing, and that I was able to safely walk away. So I was in a luxury situation. I know people don't all have that. Right. So I'm not like saying, anyone can just leave their job and start a business. Like that's not
Yeah.
the case. Like some people, it may take a little bit more work and a little bit more time. I mean, I did take 2 years, and I was in a situation where I was supported to do so, and so that helps. But it's definitely like the only difference between you and I and anyone else that's watching, or anyone else that has a dream or wants to be out there more, wants to be more visible. Like, how are people going to know who you are if you're not out there? Don't be your industry's best kept secret. Like, it's okay to be scared, but we do it anyways, right? Like, that's the only difference between us and other people is we have fear. We get mean comments, we get mean messages, we get all kinds of things, but the perks of it all are so much better than the negative. The negatives come in here and there, and it's like, now I don't even care. I mean, for a while, like some of them like hit my like spots, my weak spots.
Yeah.
But I'm so grateful that now like people can say whatever. I just brush it off. Literally whatever.
I agree. I think we're living in a time now where it's just like you better understand. And I think it comes with age as well, but it's like a lot of times it's like hurt people. And then that saying like the loudest boos come from the cheapest seats. It's like oftentimes like the people that aren't, or again, another great metaphorical, it's like a whole long thing about like the man in the arena. I think it was like Roosevelt that did
Originally, yes.
yeah. And it's like, again, like the
Comments
man in
are
the arena.
showing. People are telling me that they're putting comments, but they're not showing, which is a little annoying. Or they're asking questions and they're not coming through. So I apologize. I'm not seeing them, guys. But go ahead. Sorry. Just a little error.
Oh yeah, no. But yeah, so it's like oftentimes like people will be so opinionated or be like, oh, well, that person's doing, but it's like again, the loudest opinions, they come from people who oftentimes aren't in the arena doing what you're doing. It's like,
Right.
it's like when we talk about like, when people are like, oh my gosh, that like, the football game, like we're in the playoffs now. It's like, oh man, like, why did you do that? Whatever. It's like,
are you out there doing it?
No.
It's so true. It's so true. And for years I was asking the wrong people's input. You know what I mean? And people that were not in my shoes and were not going the places I was going. And I was asking the wrong people. Like, ask people that are where you are, or have been where like have been where you've been, or have experienced, or you really care about, you see how they live, and that they like are authentically living, and their feet match their mouth. They're not all about money or all about the hustle. Like, ask people that are true and genuine and that have been in your situation, and be mindful of, when you invest in yourself, be mindful, because I've spent, like I said, a fortune and I have had a great return, which is great, but I want to be able to help people do it where they can afford it, and really over deliver. Like over deliver. Yes. Like I come from like customer service is like a huge thing of mine, communication, showing up the best I can, like with my clients, like if I work with high-end families and a concierge service. So that's a certain caliber, and we have to live up to that standard with how we show up to our clients, our families, our referrals, everything. And like, I want to carry that into the work that we do together, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And
So
that's the
what would
thing.
you
It's like,
say, Maryann, if someone is watching and they are their industry's best kept secret, what do you want to say to them?
there's so many people who could be, even more people who could be helped by you. But so by you holding yourself back, you're doing all these people a disservice. And I used to hear that. I used to hear that in like other ways, other forms. And I used to be like, well, that's very like woo woo. But
Whatever.
it's so true because like if you think about it, like, I know the word trauma gets used a lot, but someone, there could be a therapist, there could be a fellow dietitian, there could be somebody watching right now in whatever business, lawyer, whatever, like they went through something and they have a very unique perspective to help people, but they're not good at putting themselves out there. They could be way better serving a certain client compared to another, lawyer, for example, who hasn't personally gone through that and who knows the nuances of certain ways they could like speak and talk about. And so like, again, like we all have unique experiences that we've gone through and unique perspectives that, and then skill sets too. I mean, think about all the different jobs and opportunities and things you've done in your life that have kind of like shaped the experience that you have, even things that you maybe didn't like at the time. And then you look back and you're like, oh, like that made me really good at this. And so again, like you could be doing so many people a disservice by not being out there because they could be settling for somebody who's not as good as you because they don't know about you.
But they're just out there more.
Yep. They're just out there more. And I think, some of us were fortunate enough to maybe be like raised by parents who, boosted our confidence and told us to, but like, I wasn't like, that just wasn't a thing. Like my dad was a blue collar worker. My mom didn't go back to school till later on. And my parents divorced. It was a whole thing.
My kids were at my graduation, my path was not traditional by any means, I had kids before marriage. I had kids at my college graduation. But I mean, like there is no, like your path can be your own path, right? And path to success is not linear. It's not similar. It's not the same as someone else's. And your own goals and dreams are going to be different than other people's. And how you get there is going to be it can be different. But, like my passion in the past couple of years, like was, still serving behavioral health, right? And mental health and wellness and things like that. So that's why I changed my name to Next Level Wellness and Behavioral Health to kind of encompass what we've already been doing for years. But like my passion has been getting on stages, to promote, to help, like to get in a room where no one knows about this stuff, right? Like I want to be in a room where I'm the only one that does what I do. I was in rooms with all people that did what I did for a decade. And then one day it hit me, some of the toxicity, and then like there was a couple things that happened, and then losing a friend at the last conference that I hosted in March of last year, just like all kind of hit at once. And I said it out loud. I said, I am just not going to go to behavioral health conferences anymore. I want to go and be in rooms where I'm the only one that does what I do and learn and also share all of these resources and knowledge that I've learned over this time. And my goal has been to get that out there, to help people know they're not alone, to help people. And my other goal now with you is to help people get to the place that we've been able to get to in an easier, more smooth path.
Yes.
In
a way that is tactical, but like manageable with working at the same time. And like, I've seen so many like coaching programs or whatever, and they're like, oh yeah, like you'll be able to leave your job in 3 to 6 months of it. It's like, that's not always realistic. You don't know everybody. Like you don't know what that person has in savings. You don't know what that person, how many responsibilities.
No promises here that are going to be not reality. Like we want to talk reality and tactics and have like a plan and a layout and a roadmap for you. and also be able to help you carve a path for your, get you on stages, get you, whatever it is your goals are. You know what I mean? Like, you have a dream for a book, you have a dream to get on a TEDx stage, you have a dream to get on a regular stage. You just want coaching to figure out what you want to do. You want to do something different, but you're not sure what, or you have an idea, and how do you get this started? Like, those are all the things that we are talking about here. So we are, this is kind of like a teaser. I know you had a couple of little nuggets you wanted to toss out there. Are there any little nuggets?
I mean, one of them is, again, like we talked about, it's so important to understand like what your purpose is. And sometimes you need people to help you like pull it out, so you can come up with your sort of like your personal story, and then turn that into what your sort of signature talk would even be. Because again, a lot of people want to talk on stages, but they don't even know necessarily what they would talk about. Or they might be like, oh, I'm so passionate about this.
Yes.
But like, thankfully, like I know you and me we've done a lot of this type of work, of basically like refining it down and creating that message of like what your signature talk would even be, because you need to package it up. And like, if you're going to sell yourself as a speaker, you need to kind of have something to sell first. You don't just say, oh yeah, I'll go talk, at least 99% of the time.
Yeah. And listen, I'm not going to say that it's easy, like, to come with this like one-liner kind of like tagline. Like, I'm Amanda Marino, and make it in one sentence. It's because and even when it came to like planning a TEDx, I've lived a lot of lives in my 40 years. Like, I've done a lot of things. I've been through a lot of things, and to figure out where I want to hone it. And I'm also like, I'm passionate about a lot of things. Like, I love helping people co-parents. It's one of my favorite things, is teaching people to co-parent. I love, doing interventions. I love, managing cases with families. I love life coaching, people that are stuck in failure to launch kind of place. There's so many things that I absolutely love to do, that like, it's super hard for me to niche it down to like a tagline. I'm Amanda Marino, and I could say a lot of things.
I know.
I like to help, and I help people. I'm Amanda Marino. I'll say what's coming to my mind first. I'm Amanda Marino, owner of Next Level Wellness and Behavioral Health, and I help people become unstoppable and build their self-esteem no matter what they've been through. That would be what I would say right now. But that can change, you know what I mean? Because there's so many different things, but we want to help you like hone in on that, and hone in on, those one-liners, and then like, get a great bio. Pictures are super important. Like, I get new sets of pictures every year. I'm actually due, just because it's important to have. I get content stacked. So when I don't feel like making videos, I don't need to, you know what I mean? So there's so many things that we can do here. So if you're seeing this and you have interest in learning more, please send Maryann or I a DM. We're live on both of our Instagrams, and we're live. I can't unfortunately see the Instagram feed, and that's the one thing that drives me crazy about doing the live on here. I'm trying to see if I can go back up and click on Instagram, because there's definitely people saying stuff on there, but I can't see it because StreamYard doesn't allow you to. Do you see it on yours? No. Okay. Well, drop me and Maryann a DM. Maryann, what's your email?
It is info@mwalshnutrition.com.
At mwalsh. MWALSH. Okay.
Nutrition.com.
Also, if you're looking for a badass dietitian or someone to consult for the company, Maryann is it. I mean, we're working together right now, and she is fantastic at what she does. I would not use any. I've worked with other dietitians before. I won't ever. Came up with a plan for my son who's in fire academy. I never got to thank you for that. Thank you. There was so much going on. I've had so much go on since then. So my son with the fire academy, then, family members in the hospital, losing a best friend, last week, who you actually met at the beach. I'm glad I had those moments of that day at the beach with her and horseback riding and, all these things before. It was a gift from God. So that's for you. And I'm going to put my email. So you can email either one of us. You can message either one of us on DMs. We're really available and we're putting together something really cool that will be of a lot of value, but will not break your bank account. We want to help. We want to help you succeed, and we want to do it authentically. No kickbacks from anybody. No over promising, under delivering. Like really, truly, just pure, authentic, helping you get to your next level. No pun intended.
I was going to say no pun intended.
God, you're in my head. So this is my consultant next, and everything's being changed. We're in the middle of all that. Like we changed all the socials, but the website's a whole nother beast. We made the website also it's going to be a lot shorter. .com. And that's me. Any last words, Maryann, before we sign off? Anything you want to share with anybody?
No, like I said, I think the biggest take home here is that you could be the best at what you do, but if nobody knows about you, then you can't share. You can't share how great you are.
Yeah, and the thing is, word of mouth is always great and always has been and always will be. But you can no longer in this world, older professionals that are kind of settled in their thing and they really don't want to grow. I get it. You don't need to do this unless you want to for fun. I see people do it for fun and get into it, like podcasting or things like that. I quit my podcast and I do just this now because I have this can stream and then I can be on YouTube. So it's podcasty, and I did a podcast for many years, and now that everyone has one, I decided because everyone has one, I don't want one anymore because I'm like a disruptor and I don't want to do what everyone else is doing. I'm like the anti. If everyone's doing something, I want to do the opposite. So I think the podcast, in my opinion, the podcast space is flooded. I have a partner for the retreat, Joe Rose. Joe Rose and Mandy are hosting the retreat with me, and Joe Rose has a top 10 podcast on Spotify. And good for her, because that's been where she's found her space. And everyone else, that's another thing is where's your space? Like, is it LinkedIn? Is it, and we're a couple places too, but if you can't rely on word of mouth. You can't rely on the internet solely. You have to invest in social media and putting yourself out there. It's just something I love to do for programs. I love to help individuals, and just stay tuned. We're going to keep putting out little nuggets on the way on our journey, but we just wanted to start with this live together, and that was like a way I got to hang out with you, kind of.
I know, because we're both so busy.
Yes, I want Isla to come to Panda's house, and we can, obviously my pool's frozen, but we could go to the neighborhood one that has a hot tub when it warms up. But yeah, I definitely want to see her. I love hanging out with the littles, like when I had your little and Sarah's little and your friend's little. I just I like, as you saw mine were over there doing their own bougie little thing.
Oh yeah.
So that's having a teenage girl life and a 20-year-old son. But my son did come to the gym with me today, which was so fun. He comes to my gym now.
Oh,
yeah, I love it.
Something to look forward to.
Yeah. So listen, whoever you are, no matter what you've been through, you can get through it. No matter what dream you have, you can accomplish it. Trust me, I come from poverty. I come from the worst background you could ever imagine. And here I sit today with all my dreams coming true. And I remember I had a goal list at one point, and I've so far surpassed that. And those were things that I thought were not, I put them on there. I just didn't think they were ever possible. I thought about being on the TV show Intervention 14 years before. And then I was on. And my friend Ken, who actually helped me, help push my tape through. I'm going to see him soon in Hawaii. He's like, people think it's his show. He's been on the show for 20 years. So
yeah.
So look for Maryann and I with some good surprises coming your way. And thank you so much for taking time to tune in, listen, comment. Sorry we couldn't see the questions today. I'm not sure what happened, but technology is its own beast. I'm going to end the stream, but stand for one moment. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for joining Levels Without Limits. Say bye, Maryann.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for joining us.